You've repeated the affirmations, built the vision boards, sat in silence with closed eyes, then opened them to the same room, the same messages, the same numbers on the screen. Your conscious mind keeps aiming forward, but something underneath keeps pulling back. Watch what happens when the camera goes past the surface. The hidden routines, the automatic reactions, the old scripts replaying in the background while you try to force a new result. This isn't about trying harder or finding one more technique. It's about locating the internal resistance that never shows up in your plans, then shifting the signal at the source. The journey toward shifting your reality or mastering quantum manifestation can be an exciting and empowering experience, yet it often comes with moments of frustration, confusion, and even doubt. You've tried everything: affirmations, visualization, perhaps even subtle energetic shifts, and still nothing seems to change. It's as if the reality you desire is just out of reach, teasing you with glimpses but never fully manifesting. Sound familiar? If so, you're not alone. The truth is, manifestation and reality shifting aren't as simple as they may first appear. We live in a world where we're constantly bombarded by messages that make it seem like all we need to do is think positive thoughts, visualize our desires, or repeat mantras, and voila, our lives will shift. However, as many of us have learned the hard way, reality doesn't change that easily. The reason behind this isn't that manifestation doesn't work or that you're doing it wrong, but because there's often a deeper misalignment that keeps us stuck. In this moment, it's essential to recognize that manifestation and reality shifting requires a deep, inner transformation. It's not just about external changes or surface-level actions. It's about shifting from the inside out, realigning your beliefs, emotions, and energy with the reality you desire to create. The truth is, the reason your reality isn't shifting, no matter how hard you try, is because there's an unconscious resistance, one that prevents you from stepping fully into the reality that already exists in parallel to yours. The problem is that most of us operate from a space of unconscious programming, mental and emotional patterns we've picked up throughout our lives, especially during our formative years. These programs are like the software running in the background of your mind, determining your beliefs, actions, and ultimately your experiences. And the tricky part is that these programs are rarely aligned with the reality you wish to manifest. They are often rooted in limiting beliefs, past traumas, self-doubt, and fears that sabotage our conscious intentions. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you consciously wanted something, whether it's a career change, a relationship, or financial abundance, only to find that the results are inconsistent, or that you end up attracting the opposite of what you truly desire? It's not because you're incapable of manifesting. It's because your subconscious is pulling you in a different direction, one that doesn't align with your highest desires. To break free from this pattern, it's essential to understand that the key to shifting your reality lies in aligning your conscious intentions with your subconscious beliefs. Many people attempt to manifest through sheer willpower or external techniques, but they fail to address the root cause of their inability to shift, the deep-seated beliefs and fears that continue to create resistance. This is why, even when you try your hardest to shift your reality, it can feel like you're running into an invisible wall. You can't force a shift when your internal state is not in harmony with the reality you seek. The first step in overcoming this resistance is self-awareness. It's about being honest with yourself and taking a deep, introspective look at the beliefs and emotions that are operating beneath the surface. What fears are you holding onto? What stories are you telling yourself about why you can't have what you desire? These are often beliefs we picked up in childhood or from past experiences, beliefs that tell us we're not worthy, that it's not safe to change, or that the universe won't support us in our goals. Once you become aware of these unconscious beliefs, the next step is to begin shifting them. This doesn't happen overnight, but it does require conscious effort. Techniques like journaling, meditation, and emotional release practices can be incredibly powerful tools for uncovering and transforming these limiting beliefs. By consciously confronting and releasing the fears, doubts, and stories that no longer serve you, you begin to realign your subconscious mind with your conscious desires. This realignment is what allows your reality to shift. Another crucial aspect of shifting your reality is the need for inner alignment. You see, when we desire a new reality, whether it's a better job, a loving relationship, or financial freedom, we often focus primarily on the external circumstances we wish to change. However, the most powerful shifts occur not when we force external change, but when we change our internal state. This involves adjusting not just our thoughts, but our emotional frequency, our energy, and the way we feel about ourselves and the world around us. Inner alignment means that you are in harmony with your desires, that your thoughts, emotions, and actions are in sync with the reality you wish to create. Without this alignment, you're essentially working against yourself. Imagine trying to sail a boat toward a destination, but your rudder is pointing in the opposite direction. No matter how hard you try to move forward, you'll always end up veering off course. This is what happens when you're not aligned with your desires. You may put in the effort, but it feels like you're swimming upstream, fighting an invisible force that holds you back. The key to achieving inner alignment is to focus on cultivating the feeling of already having what you desire. This is where visualization and emotional connection come into play. Instead of merely imagining the external circumstances of your dream life, it's essential to imagine how you would feel if that reality were already yours. Would you feel confident, peaceful, joyful, abundant? By connecting with those feelings on an emotional level, you begin to raise your energetic frequency and send out the signal to the universe that you are in alignment with your desires. It's also important to recognize that reality shifting is not about simply bypassing challenges or avoiding uncomfortable emotions. Transformation requires facing your fears and doubts head-on, rather than avoiding them. When you're unwilling to confront these emotions, you'll find that they continue to manifest in your life, creating patterns of resistance and frustration. By allowing yourself to feel and release these emotions, rather than suppressing or avoiding them, you create space for new, more empowering beliefs and emotions to emerge. Shifting your reality also requires patience and trust in the process. One of the most common pitfalls that people face when attempting to manifest their desires is the impatience that often accompanies the process. We live in a world where instant gratification is the norm, but the truth is that real, lasting change takes time. It requires the cultivation of deep inner trust in the process, the willingness to surrender the need for immediate results, and the belief that what you desire is already on its way to you. Remember, the universe works in mysterious ways, and sometimes the shift you're seeking is happening beneath the surface long before you see the outward signs. Trusting the process means letting go of the need to control how or when things will shift, and instead focusing on your inner state and your alignment with your desires. When you shift your focus from what's not happening to how you feel internally, you open the door for the external world to shift as well. Ultimately, reality shifting is not about a quick fix or a magic formula. It's about a deep, inner transformation that takes time, patience, and the willingness to face your fears and align your energy with the reality you desire. The reason your reality may not be shifting as you want it to isn't because it's impossible, but because you're not yet fully aligned with the changes you seek. When you can align your beliefs, emotions, and energy with the life you want, you will naturally see your reality begin to shift. So, take a moment to ask yourself, what is the shift that you desire? What limiting beliefs and fears are you holding on to that may be blocking your manifestation? And most importantly, are you ready to align with the reality you truly deserve? The shift is possible, but it starts with you. Manifestation and reality shifting are deeply intertwined with the mind's ability to focus intention, but one of the most overlooked elements of this process is the role of subconscious beliefs. These are the silent architects of our reality, the hidden patterns of thought and emotion that influence every decision, every action, and every outcome in our lives. While our conscious mind may set powerful intentions, it is the subconscious that often determines whether those intentions will manifest or remain out of reach. And this misalignment between conscious desire and subconscious programming is often the root cause of the frustration many experience when their reality doesn't shift, no matter how much effort they put into the process. At the surface level, it seems so simple: think positively, focus on your desires, and they will come. However, the reality is far more complex. Beneath the surface, the subconscious mind is continually running in the background, processing old patterns, past experiences, and deeply ingrained beliefs. These beliefs may be positive or negative, but more often than not, they're outdated, limiting, and misaligned with the person we aspire to become. For example, you may consciously desire abundance, yet if you've been conditioned to believe that money is scarce or that you are unworthy of financial freedom, your subconscious will create resistance to manifesting abundance, no matter how many affirmations you repeat. This is where the concept of cognitive dissonance becomes crucial. Cognitive dissonance refers to the psychological discomfort that arises when there's a conflict between our beliefs and actions. In the context of manifestation, this conflict manifests when your conscious mind is focused on manifesting a new reality, whether it's wealth, love, or success, while your subconscious mind continues to hold on to outdated beliefs about lack, unworthiness, or fear. The result? Resistance. Even if you consciously align your thoughts with your desires, this internal battle creates friction, preventing you from moving forward and manifesting your goals. To truly shift your reality, it's essential to bring these two aspects, your conscious desires and your subconscious beliefs, into alignment. This alignment is the first step in unlocking your true manifestation potential. The problem lies in the fact that the subconscious mind operates at a level that's far more powerful than the conscious mind. While the conscious mind is logical and aware, the subconscious mind is emotional, instinctual, and deeply ingrained with patterns from past experiences. In essence, your subconscious doesn't care what you consciously desire. It cares about what it believes is true based on past experiences and ingrained beliefs. If your subconscious belief is that you're not worthy of love or success, it will resist any attempts to manifest those things, no matter how strong your conscious desire is. The key to overcoming this resistance lies in the process of reprogramming the subconscious. Reprogramming isn't about forcing your subconscious mind to accept new beliefs. It's about gradually replacing old, limiting beliefs with empowering ones. This is where practices like meditation, visualization, and emotional healing come into play. Meditation helps you tap into the subconscious mind, allowing you to observe and understand the patterns that are operating beneath the surface. Visualization helps you create a mental image of your desired reality, which acts as a blueprint for your subconscious to follow. And emotional healing practices, such as releasing suppressed emotions, help to clear the energetic blockages that are keeping you stuck in old patterns. But here's where things get tricky. The subconscious mind is incredibly resistant to change, especially when it feels threatened by new ideas or unfamiliar concepts. Think about it this way. Imagine trying to change the course of a massive ship in the middle of the ocean. The ship has been following its path for years, and changing direction requires consistent effort over time. The same principle applies to your subconscious beliefs. If you've spent your entire life believing that you're unworthy of success, that belief has become so deeply ingrained that shifting it feels like an uphill battle. But that doesn't mean it's impossible. With consistent effort, patience, and the right tools, you can start to reprogram your subconscious mind and align it with your conscious desires. One of the most powerful tools for this transformation is emotional work. Emotions are the gateway to the subconscious, and they are the language through which your mind communicates with your body. Often we suppress negative emotions, fear, shame, guilt, because they feel uncomfortable or threatening. But in reality, these emotions are signals that there are unresolved beliefs or experiences that need to be addressed. By learning to sit with these emotions, to release them and understand their root causes, you begin to dismantle the subconscious barriers that are preventing your manifestation from coming to fruition. For instance, if you're trying to manifest abundance but are continuously met with financial struggles, there's a good chance that deep down, you hold a belief that money is difficult to attain or that you're undeserving of wealth. To shift this, it's important to dig into the emotional roots of this belief. Perhaps you grew up in an environment where money was always a source of stress or scarcity, and this experience shaped your subconscious perception of money. By consciously revisiting and healing the emotions tied to these past experiences, you can begin to reframe your beliefs around money and replace them with more empowering ones, such as the belief that wealth is abundant, that you are worthy of success, and that money can flow to you with ease. Another important aspect of reprogramming your subconscious is recognizing that thoughts and beliefs are energy. Everything in the universe is made up of energy, including our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. The energy you emit through your thoughts and emotions creates a vibrational frequency that attracts similar energy back to you. This is why aligning your thoughts and emotions with your desires is so powerful. When you believe in the possibility of something, you begin to radiate the energy that matches that frequency, and the universe responds accordingly. However, when you hold contradictory beliefs, such as wanting wealth but believing that you're unworthy of it, you send out a mixed signal, which causes the manifestation to be delayed or blocked. The process of inner alignment involves aligning not only your thoughts but also your emotions, actions, and energy. When all of these elements are in harmony, your manifestation has a clear pathway to enter your reality. But this alignment isn't always easy to achieve. It requires a willingness to challenge and transform old beliefs, to face uncomfortable emotions, and to release the patterns that no longer serve you. It's a journey of deep self-awareness and self-love, of understanding who you are at the core and embracing the truth of your limitless potential. If you find yourself struggling with this process, it's important to remember that self-compassion plays a vital role in shifting your reality. It's easy to become frustrated or disheartened when things don't shift as quickly as you'd like, but this journey is not about perfection. It's about progress. Each step you take toward releasing old beliefs and aligning your energy with your desires brings you closer to the reality you want to create. The more you practice self-compassion, the more you allow yourself to embrace the journey of transformation without judgment, knowing that you are exactly where you need to be at this moment. The most powerful shifts occur when you move from a state of resistance to one of flow. Resistance arises when there's a disconnect between your conscious desires and your subconscious beliefs. But when you allow yourself to embrace the process of transformation, when you trust that your desires are on their way to you, and when you align your thoughts, emotions, and energy with your goals, you enter a state of flow. This flow is where manifestation becomes effortless, where reality shifts almost seamlessly, as if the universe is working with you rather than against you. So, if your reality isn't shifting despite your best efforts, it's likely because there's a deeper misalignment that needs to be addressed. The key to overcoming this resistance is to dive deep into your subconscious, uncover the limiting beliefs and fears that are holding you back, and begin the process of reprogramming them. This process takes time, patience, and consistent effort, but when you begin to align your subconscious mind with your conscious desires, you unlock the true power of manifestation, and that's when the magic truly happens. When we talk about shifting your reality or manifesting the life you desire, it's easy to overlook the underlying emotional blockages that silently shape your experiences. Fear, doubt, and resistance often play a much larger role in keeping us stuck than we realize. These emotional forces are not just obstacles. They are deeply ingrained patterns that influence the way we perceive ourselves, our desires, and our ability to change. In many cases, these fears are so deeply embedded in our subconscious that we don't even recognize them as the source of our resistance. They operate under the surface, influencing our thoughts, behaviors, and even our energy, making it nearly impossible for us to manifest the life we desire. The first thing to understand is that fear is a natural part of the human experience. It's a survival mechanism that has evolved over millennia to keep us safe from perceived danger. However, in today's world, most of the fears we carry are not life-threatening, they are emotional or psychological in nature. These fears stem from a variety of sources: past traumas, societal conditioning, family beliefs, and even inherited emotional patterns. And while these fears may have served a purpose in the past, perhaps to protect us from real harm, they no longer serve us as we seek to expand our consciousness and create a new reality. At the core of these fears is the fear of the unknown. When we desire to shift our reality, we are essentially asking the universe to take us into new territory, into a place where things are unfamiliar, uncertain, and unpredictable. Our subconscious mind, which thrives on familiarity and safety, will often resist this shift because it feels threatened by the unknown. It's not that you don't want change, it's that your mind and emotions have been conditioned to seek comfort in the known, even if that known is a reality that no longer serves you. This creates an internal battle. Your conscious mind wants change, but your subconscious mind resists it because it feels safer to stay stuck. This fear of the unknown is often compounded by a deeper, more insidious fear, the fear of failure. For many people, the idea of manifesting a new reality is exciting, but there's also a part of them that doubts their ability to make it happen. What if they try and fail? What if their manifestation doesn't come to fruition, and they are left feeling like they're not worthy of their desires? This fear of failure often manifests as procrastination, self-sabotage, or even a lack of motivation. The idea of taking the first step toward a new reality can feel paralyzing because the fear of failure looms large. Yet, what we fail to realize is that failure is not the opposite of success. It is a part of the process. In fact, every successful person has experienced failure at some point. It's through failure that we learn, grow, and ultimately refine our manifestation practices. However, our fear of failure can create a psychological block that prevents us from taking action in the first place. We become so consumed by the possibility of failing that we avoid trying altogether. This fear of failure often causes us to stay in our comfort zones, even when those zones are far from fulfilling or aligned with our true desires. Another major emotional blockage that hinders our ability to shift reality is the fear of success. This might sound counterintuitive, but many people are actually afraid of achieving their goals. Why? Because success brings with it a set of new challenges, responsibilities, and expectations. On some level, success requires us to change how we see ourselves and how we interact with the world. It forces us to step into a new identity, one that may feel unfamiliar or uncomfortable. For instance, if you have spent your life identifying as someone who struggles with money or relationships, the idea of becoming financially abundant or deeply loved can bring up feelings of unworthiness or imposter syndrome. The fear of success often shows up as self-sabotage, where we unconsciously push away the very thing we desire because we're afraid of what comes with it. The fear of success is also tied to fear of judgment. When we step into our true potential and start manifesting the life we desire, we open ourselves up to the judgment of others. This judgment can be both real and imagined. On a deeper level, we fear being criticized or rejected by others because we've been conditioned to seek external validation. If we suddenly achieve success or manifest a new reality, we may feel like we'll be judged for it, whether that's because people will think we're showing off, or because we're afraid of being ostracized for being different. This fear of judgment often holds us back from fully stepping into our power, because we're afraid of being vulnerable or exposed. But perhaps the most insidious fear is the fear of change itself. Change can be intimidating because it forces us to confront the parts of ourselves that we've been avoiding or suppressing. It requires us to let go of the old version of ourselves, the one that is comfortable, familiar, and often stuck in patterns of limitation. For many, this process of transformation feels like a loss, rather than a gain. We fear losing the identity we've built over the years, the relationships, the roles, the beliefs that have defined us. But the truth is, in order to shift our reality, we must be willing to release the old self and step into something new. This is often the most difficult part of the process, not the manifestation itself, but the emotional work required to let go of the old patterns, beliefs, and identities that have held us back. So how do we break free from these emotional blockages and begin to shift our reality? The answer lies in awareness and acceptance. The first step in overcoming fear is to acknowledge it. Most people try to suppress their fears or push them aside, but this only strengthens their hold on us. Fear thrives in the shadows. It loses its power when we bring it into the light. By acknowledging our fears, whether it's fear of failure, fear of success, or fear of change, we take the first step toward releasing them. This doesn't mean that fear will disappear overnight, but it does mean that we are no longer ruled by it. Next, we need to embrace the discomfort that comes with growth and transformation. Shifting your reality requires stepping into the unknown, and that will always feel uncomfortable at first. But this discomfort is a sign that we are expanding beyond our current limitations. It's important to remember that discomfort is not a signal to stop. It's a signal to move forward. The more we lean into the discomfort of change, the more we open ourselves up to new possibilities. One of the most powerful tools for overcoming fear is emotional healing. Healing the emotional wounds that keep us stuck is essential to clearing the energetic blockages that prevent manifestation. Practices like journaling, inner child work, and forgiveness can help us release the emotional baggage that we carry, allowing us to step into a new, more aligned version of ourselves. When we heal our emotional wounds, we create space for new energy to flow into our lives, and that energy is the catalyst for transformation. It's also essential to reframe our beliefs about fear. Fear doesn't have to be an obstacle. Instead, it can be a signal that we are on the right path. When we face our fears head-on, we strip them of their power. Instead of allowing fear to hold us back, we can use it as fuel for growth. Every time we step into fear, we grow stronger, more resilient, and more capable of shifting our reality. Ultimately, overcoming fear and emotional resistance is a process of self-empowerment. It's about recognizing that we have the power to choose how we respond to fear, how we deal with discomfort, and how we embrace change. The more we reclaim our power, the more we align with the reality we desire. Shifting your reality isn't about avoiding fear or resistance. It's about facing them with courage, trust, and unwavering faith that the transformation you seek is already on its way. When we look at the process of reality shifting or manifestation, it's often easy to focus solely on the emotional, mental, and spiritual work required to create change. However, one of the most powerful and scientifically backed components of this journey lies in the quantum mechanics of our universe. Understanding the principles of quantum physics helps us comprehend how our thoughts, beliefs, and emotions influence the fabric of reality itself. It's not just about positive thinking. It's about harnessing the power of energy, vibration, and frequency to align with the reality we wish to create. At the heart of quantum physics is the concept that everything in the universe is energy, everything from the stars in the sky to the thoughts in our minds. This idea may seem abstract, but it is grounded in scientific reality. In quantum mechanics, particles do not exist in a fixed state. They exist as potentialities, waves of energy that only collapse into specific particles when observed. This is known as the observer effect, which suggests that our perception, our consciousness, can influence the very fabric of reality. In simple terms, the act of observing or focusing on something can cause it to materialize into existence. This principle is at the core of manifestation. When we focus our consciousness on a desired reality, we are not just wishing or hoping for it to appear. We are interacting with the quantum field itself. Our thoughts and emotions are energy frequencies, and these frequencies have the power to influence the energy fields around us. Just like a radio tuning into a specific frequency, when we align our thoughts and emotions with the frequency of the reality we desire, we begin to attract that reality into our experience. Now, you may wonder how this ties into reality shifting. The concept of parallel realities is another principle within quantum mechanics. where it is suggested that multiple realities exist simultaneously. These realities are all potential outcomes, and which reality we experience depends on the choices we make, the frequencies we align with, and the energy we put out into the universe. When we begin to consciously shift our energy, our thoughts, and our beliefs, we essentially tune into a different parallel reality, a reality where our desires are already fulfilled. This is why some people report experiencing a shift in their reality seemingly overnight. They have altered their frequency so profoundly that they now find themselves in an entirely new version of their life.